Hello everybody, this is Rita Holmes, independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up. I am coming to you to bring you a video tonight. I haven't been able to do that in a while because I was sick with COVID, unfortunately. So anyway, forgot to set my iPad up, so I'm doing that real quick. I am coming to you with a video on coloring on vellum tonight. I thought that would be a good video. It's where I left off actually with doing my Facebook Live videos. So anyway, if I get winded and stuff, it's because I'm actually not fully recovered from the exhaustion. So I get a little bit winded sometimes. So just bear with me, but I want to get this done. Anyway, like I said, I'm Rita Holmes, independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up. And it is our celebration month, so for every $50 you spend in our new mini catalog or annual catalog, you get to pick a celebration item out, and there's several $50 ones. For every $50 you spend, you can do that. And there are a couple, if you spend $100, that you could pick from. So if you need a catalog or anything with that, you can let me know. I'd be happy to send you one. Of course, I want you to order from your own demonstrator if you already have one. I don't want to take customers from anybody. But I'd be more than gladly help you if you do not have a demonstrator already. So I just wanted to let you know that I'm hoping to get my January host code up here very shortly, tonight or tomorrow. I've not got that done. I'm running way behind. But anyway, I want to get my table cleaned off tonight with from the last live video that I did on Facebook, which is at my Stamp Crazy VIP page. And you are more than welcome to join that at any time. In the file section over there, I have a PDF of every technique or fun fold card that I've done to tell you how to do that, and they look like this. They have the supplies and directions for the technique and the supplies and directions for the cards that I use. Okay? So tonight I'm actually going to show you 3 different cards. This is basically the one that I was going for. I colored with alcohol markers on vellum. I know they say you can't do that, but you can. This one I colored on actual cardstock and made a background and cut it out. I'll show you that. These are done with embossing with white, stamping with Versamart, and embossing with white embossing paper. This one is done stamped with Stays On black ink and colored on the back with, I use Stampin' Up's watercolor pencils because that's what we carry. But you can use any type of coloring pencil as long as you color on the back. I'll go through all of those techniques with you and do that so you can just see these 3 cards. I'm going to start with my one with the alcohol-based inks and show you that first. So let's set these up here out of our way. And I went ahead and actually, I didn't stamp this all the way because I wanted to show you how I got this stamp set I used. This is in the new mini catalog. It's called Back-to-Back Blooms, and what it means by that. Here's the flower that I'm using, but you can turn this over to this side. You could stamp that in any color ink that you wanted, turn it over, and then stamp your detail over top of that. It's like a 2-step stamping. The stamps are already made. Each one of them are made like that. The leaf you would turn over, stamp your color, stamp your detail, but this is all the stamps that it has in it. It does not have any sayings. It's all leaves and flowers. So that is the stamp set I'm using for my flowers tonight. The stamp set I'm using for my sentiments is Happy Thoughts, which is a new stamp set in the mini catalog. It's actually from one of our $1 Million Achievers, Lisa Curcio. So it has a lot of great sayings in it, a lot of great fonts and stuff, so you might want to check that out of the new catalog also. So anyway, here we go. I'm going to show you, I got the other one with the vellum already stamped, but I'm going to show you this one. I already did one flower. I stamped it in Versamark, put white embossing powder on it, and heat set it. So now what I'm going to do, because I want 2 flowers beside it, I have cut me out a mask. As you can see, I've used it a lot. I'm going to line it up on my flower and cover that. And I'm going to take my Versamark pad, and yes, it looks bad, but it works. So we'll use it. I'm going to ink that up, and I'm going to stamp a flower to this side of the flower. And since I've got my mask there, I'm going to take my mask and I'm going to put a flower on this side. And the reason why I went ahead and embossed the middle one first is because I wanted to put that mask over it, so I couldn't do that without embossing it already. So now what I'm going to bring in is my embossing powder, and I'm just going to add my embossing powder to my flowers, flick off anything that might, and yes, you can use an embossing buddy on here before you do this so that the ink just sticks where you stamped. I always forget to use it, so this is me without it, and it's okay too. It's whichever way you prefer. So I'm going to take my heat gun real quick, and I'm going to heat these 2 flowers up. I haven't had my heat going on for a minute, so it's going to take it a minute to warm up. So what I'm going to do is just heat that till the color turns. Make sure everything's nice and glossy, and same thing with this flower. When you see it changing, you know that it's being heat set. So I've got them both heat set, okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my mask again, and I'm going to mask this flower. I'm going to take my leaf. I'm going to stamp a leaf here. I'm going to take my mask and I am going to put it right here. Line that up, and I'm going to stamp a leaf up here. I'm going to put my mask over to the side, and my Versamark, I'm done with it. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and heat set, whoops, I'm sorry, I'm not going to heat set it yet. I got to put the embossing powder on it. Got a little bit ahead of myself. Hope that works. That was getting a little bit ahead of yourself. Don't do that. You'll make a mistake. Okay. Now let's heat set it. I like to hold it up so I can make sure I see it turning. It's just easier for me that way. Okay, now it's all heat set, okay? Let me clean the Versamark ink off of that a little bit so it can dry, so we can use the StazOn next when we get to that. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn this over my vellum to the back side. We're going to turn this over and we're going to color from the back side. Here are the colors that I used basically for my flowers. I used the light and dark flirty flamingo, or no, Calypso coral, and I used the light mango medley and the light and dark old olive. So that's what we're going to use on our leaves and stuff. I'm going to take my yellow first, and right here where all this white center is, and these little, I'm just going to color that center in really good. And you see, you don't have to be real real easy with it. You can color. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my light colored Calypso Coral, and it is about out of ink. I should have picked a different color, but I'm going to use this really quick. And as you can see, I'm just coloring in these petals. And I'm going to do that on all 3 flowers. And I want to go all the way into that yellow. I don't want it to not be covered. Look at my poor end of my thing. I've used that so much. Oh my goodness. I think next order I ought to order me a new one. The thing of it is I have to get light and dark together. So I end up with one color more than the other. I think I'm just a heavy-handed colorer, so I kind of wear out my ends a little bit. Okay, I'm just going to darken this just a little bit. And you can see that that alcohol ink is drying on this. I was always told you couldn't use alcohol on vellum because it won't dry. It will dry. It may take it a minute. The thing about when you are doing this, your color moves around on you because you kind of make it solidify, you know, or get liquefied again when you're doing this to blend the colors. It gets wet again. So anyway, I'm going to turn this over and show you what that looks like so far. You can see the color on that. See that? How pretty it looks? I'm going to take the light Old Olive and go ahead and color in my leaves while that's drying some. And here I'm using my small tip because I don't have a lot of room on these leaves. But I want color on them. And I really want to take it all the way out to that white so that I know that I've got it all colored really well. I'm going to come over to the other leaf and do the same thing. And you don't have to be as careful with your coloring as you think you would need to be. Oops. Colored all the way across the floor. So let me put that on here, and then that way you can see the green color a little bit. There's not much leaf there to actually see. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn this back over. I'm going to take my darker color, and I'm just going to like blend that in because I want some darker color. Now it looks kind of ugly, doesn't it? We'll get it there though, don't worry about it. So you can see where it's bleeding, so I'm going to come back in with this one really quick and swirl that color around. And it does look funny on here, on the outside or the back side, because I'm blending that and letting it just run. It's almost like, well, it's alcohol ink, so you're going to see it looks like little puddles, which is fine. And that's a mess, but then there is your color. And if you don't like, well, see where that's a little rounded? I'm going to go back in there, and I'm just going to blend that out a little bit with my small end. And that's the good thing of the markers on with the vellum. You can play and play and play and get that the way you want it. And blend all that out, and there's your color. And with the leaves, I just went back in with the darker color. Right where these little white veins are, I went just to the side of them. Because if you just color over top of the white veins, you're not going to be able to see. But I wanted to add a little bit of color in the center of those. And that's all I did with that. And there's my colored vellum. Okay, so I'm going to move this out of the way and we're going to finish this card real quick. Because I want to show you how I put them together. Here's the card we're doing. So now what I'm going to do, move all this out of the way for a minute. It's this right here. I'm going to take this white and I'm going to take this stamp from that stamp set that says, I got it on here kind of crooked, but it says, just wanted to send some happy thoughts your way. That's a good card. You can put a birthday sentiment inside. You could put get well, leave it blank, write a note. It's good for a lot of different uses. I want to make sure I got that inked well. And then I'm just going to stamp over here towards this corner. And there we go. So now to add my vellum over that, I'm going to let that dry a second. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my vellum and I'm using glue dots. That's how I glue it. And I'm going to put one in each corner. I'm just pressing down and putting one in each corner. You can put them in a little bit if you want. It's up to you on how close to the corner you want. I hope you're seeing that I'm just pressing that on there and coloring 4 corners. I do not know where that little bubble thing came from. It's probably stuck to my glue dots. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take this and line it up on my paper. Actually, it doesn't. It has a little bit of a border. I forgot about that. So I'm just going to, you got to be careful with your dots to get them on there first. And I'm just going to press where those dots are. And you can't really see them. I'll hold this up maybe to the, but you can't see where those glue dots are. You could leave that plain. What I'm going to do though is fold my card. I've lost my bone folder. How in the heck? But I must have took it in the other room. Let me get a. I love my Pampered Chef little guy, but I don't see him. So we've got this one. We use a regular bone folder tonight. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my glue and I'm going to add glue to the back of my card. Add this to the front. I can get it on there. Okay. And then if I wanted to now, what I would do would be, these are just the little epoxy clear bubbles, more or less. That's what I call them. And then I'm just going to add one to each corner. No, it doesn't want to stick where I want it. Has a little mind of its own. And I'm just going to put 4 of these, one on each corner. And my card is done. I didn't add a piece. I put white cardstock inside here. I didn't cut a piece for this one tonight. I'll do that a little later. But that is a finished card. That's coloring with alcohol markers. The Stampin' Blends, that's what they are, alcohol markers. So we've got that one done. The next one I'm going to do is the other white vellum one. And making sure that my pieces fit. Yeah. Okay, what I'm going to do with this is we're going to take this piece of dirty paper here, and I'm going to take a couple different colors of ink. I'm sorry, I had to go get the one ink because I was using it last night in my other room. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this piece of cardstock here, and I'm going to add some color with my blending brushes. And I don't know if you know that Stampin' Up! Now carries blending brushes. So this is what theirs look like. They're gray handled, they're all the same size. I'm going to take some yellow here, and I'm going to add some yellow just in spots. Make sure you rub them out. I should have started that off of the paper right there, but I didn't, but that's okay. But anyway, here's some yellow on my card, and I'm just making sure that I cover enough of it, and I'll show you why here in just a second. I'm going to take my green because my leaves are on the ends and I kind of want green down by them. So I'm going to go to each section here and add some green there and up here. Okay, so therefore we have some color of green, and now I'm going to take Highland Heather. This was Pear Pizzazz and this was So Saffron, and now I'm taking Highland Heather and I'm going to add some purple in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come in here and add purple. And I added my yellow first because I knew I could go over it with my purple and it wouldn't, it would cover better instead of trying to go over the purple with the yellow. So I'm just adding some color of that. I want it to be up far enough and down far enough. There we go. And that's good. You don't have to color up here. You're not going to be doing anything with that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and I'm going to attach this with my glue dots again. And I'm going to not attach all 4 corners. I'm going to attach 3. The 3 where they are where the embossing is. So I'm going to put one up here. I'm going to put one down here. And then I'll put one in this other corner. Now in doing this, I am also going to put one, I want to make sure I hit where the embossing is. And I'm going to put one up in this corner to kind of hold that down. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to line that up on the edge. And I'd like to be as close to that edge so I don't have to cut on the edge. Put this down. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my scissors, and I actually, because of these little leaves, I have another. This is the Stampin' Up paper snips, which I really like, but I also have a pair of these little, I bought them off of Amazon, but they go around these leaves really, really well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fussy cut this out real quick. Now I'm not going to fussy cut so much that I'm going to be here all day, but I just wanted to show you what I did instead of explain it. Not much use doing a video if all you're going to do is explain what you did. Now I may have to go put some glue dots back on here when I'm done, because I'm like probably cut that corner off, you know, using my leaves. But I hope you can see what I'm doing and I'm not getting out of camera. I'm so bad when I'm cutting out, I get so engrossed. And I'm trying not to do that. I'm trying to do this in a timely fashion for you, but I want it to look decent so I can use the card. Does that make sense? Do y'all ever get in a hurry and then just like, okay, why'd I do that? Because if I'd slow down, I would get a better image. And but we all tend to get in a hurry sometime, and especially when I'm doing a video, I feel like I don't want to waste your time doing this silly stuff. And I have to tell you, mine's all done in real time. I don't edit my videos. What you see is what I do. There's no editing for two reasons. I like to be me, and let you see, you know, I'm a stamper just like you. I'm not editing any of my bloopers out and all that kind of stuff. I'm here to be me. And another reason is I'm not real good at editing. I have to work on that. So until I could get good and figure all that out and still be me, this is how I do my videos. So I hope you all don't mind sticking with me. I'm going to cut this glue dot off too. But that's okay because we're going to add some more. Okay, this one. Okay, so there is my image cut out. So it really looks pretty with the color behind it. So I'm going to see if I need to add a glue dot up here. It's really stuck right there. That was good. Let's see about down here. I do think down here and it's stuck on the end. So I'm good to go. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I knew I would lose that piece of, we're going to this is the one we're doing right here. Well, no, I then lost it, guys. How do you lose a card? I have no idea. But I do. Every time I do a video, I lose cards. I don't know how I do it. I lay things out of my way, and then they're out of my way forever. Here it is. Okay, here's my card. So, what I'm going to do now is I am just going to adhere this to my card front. Okay? Just going to adhere that so it's down. So now that it's done on white cardstock, I can add all of that with my glue. So I'm just going to glue in here and make sure I get that glued down really good, especially where these leaves are. and around my flower. And some in the center. I want that glued really good. And I don't want to get glue all over me, which is a tendency I have. So I'm just going to glue this in the corner, like so. And glue those down, make sure everything's glued down. I'm going to turn it over and just rub it where I glued it, just to make sure that that's all glued. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the stamp that I used, the same sentiment stamp, and I'm going to use the Highland Heather, and I'm just going to stamp my sentiment on there. So let's ink that up as I bounce and shake my camera. I'm sorry. And then I'm just going to add that right here. And there we go. So that's another way that you can color. You actually color on an extra piece of paper or cardstock, and then you put your overlay, your vellum overlay that you made on top of it. So that's a good way to use that. Okay. Now our last card that we're going to do is, let's put these all out of the way, is this one right here. And let me show you what I did with that. Make sure I get my right piece of cardstock here, or vellum. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my vellum, and I'm going to use Stays on Black this time. Okay? And when I use that, I'm not a big stays on person. I think it's messy, but that's just me. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my flower, and I'm going to stamp my center flower. I want to make sure I get that inked really, really well. Okay, and then I'm going to stamp. I think I moved my stamp a little bit, so it might be a little blurry. Let's see. No, that's pretty good. I did not get my center stamen things as well, but that's okay. It'll just show more of a yellow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick this over top. It's my matte, or my mask again, and I'm going to put another flower here, just like I did with the vellum, and then I'm going to go up here and put another flower here. And I didn't get the stamens again on that one either, but that's okay. That I don't mind as much. Now I'm going to cover this one up just like we did the last time, so I can get me some leaves on here. So we're going to put a leaf here. Which I didn't get that as well either. I think my Stays On pad might be going a little bit dry. And then I'm going to put a little bit of a leaf there. Okay, so now, I don't want to try to line my leaves in that back up, and to me that's okay. Some people like to be perfect. I get it. I'm a stamper who believes that your stamping is your creation, and you don't have to be perfect, because we're not perfect, so why does your stamping need to be perfect? But you could take a permanent marker and kind of fill in these little leaves when you're done. So I've got that all dry. I'm going to turn that over. Here's what I used for that. I just used some of the coloring pencils. And my Flirty Flamingo is already, I'm going to sharpen it real quick. And this is all I do to sharpen my, I have a little handy dandy pencil sharpener that I don't know where I got, but I got it. So anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm strictly just going to color all this in. I'm going to color my yellow around my stamens. And some of this is going to show more yellow than not because of the way my stamens, the center of my flower, stamped. And that's okay to me. I'm not a perfect girl, so I'm not a perfect stamper. And I'm going to take my green, I'm going to go ahead and color my leaves. Same thing over here on my leaves. They got a little light, but I can still see the image enough to color some green in there and make it look like a leaf. But you want to make sure that you get all that colored up to the black so that you don't leave any image showing. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take my light color, which is Flirty Flamingo, and then Melon Mambo is my other color. I'm going to take my light color and just color in my flower. It colors real well. If you have regular colored pencils, Prismacolors, anything, even Crayola pencils work on this. I use the Stampin' Up watercolor pencils. I'm not watercoloring, but that's okay. I don't have to use them as a watercolor pencil. I plan on getting water on my vellum. That wouldn't go over well. So I'm just coloring my leaves, and I don't have to worry about getting outside the lines on here because I'm going to color that other flower. I love when you can color and not be careful. Just got to be careful where there's no other flower. But then again, if you color outside the lines, that just shows your creativity. Okay, let's color this last one in. And you see, you don't have to take tons of time. You do have to be careful around your edges. I am pressing. I kind of press hard when I'm coloring with a colored pencil because I want the color to show. So I don't try to be real light-handed with that. I'm going to turn this over and let you see what it looks like just colored like this. I'm just coming back and trying to color in some areas I see that might not look like they were full. Let me hold it up to the piece of white cardstock. So there it is, colored just like that. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I saw this leaf, right, this petal right here wasn't colored really well. So then I'm just going to take my Melon Mambo, and where all these lines are, I'm just going to add lines. And you kind of want to go between them or to the side of them over far enough to where you can get color, because if you just stay on that little black line, it won't show. So you want to make sure that you cover it up good. And you don't want to make every flower petal alike. So if some of them thicker than others, you're fine. guess I should call myself the Messy Stamper or something like that. Give myself a nickname. Because I sure don't play by the rules and try to be so pristine. That one didn't have any color down there, I just noticed. There we go. Now let me turn it over on that piece of white and show you what that looks like. And then there's my flower. Now, of course, I'm not putting it on white. I'm going to put it on this piece of Flirty Flamingo. And it changes your color a little bit. It darkens it. But as you can see it. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to, actually, I'm going to take that happy birthday stamp. And it's in here in the stamp set that I showed you. And I am going to stamp that directly on the vellum. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take Stays On and do that. Now when you do this, you want to be sure to not move on your vellum because it will blur. So you want to make sure you've got this really inked up good. And then when you go down, you want to go straight down. Don't move it. Let that soak in for a second before you pull it up. So you get a nice, crisp image. Okay? And that's how you do that. Now, all we have to do is put that together. While that's drying a minute, because that's a little thick, I'm going to move this out of the way, and I'm going to fold my card. And guess what I found? My little guy that I just love. Makes such a good, crisp, clean. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to glue this down with my Tombow onto the front of my card because I'm letting my vellum dry a minute. So we can just put this on here. Okay. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick that up. And I am actually, because it is still a little wet, I'm going to hit that with my heat gun. Because if you see it shiny, you know it's not dried yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that, I'm going to lay that there, and rub my finger over it. That will get any ink that hadn't dried. Oh, it's getting dry. I always like to test it. I don't want it getting all blurry on me. So now I'm going to do what I did with all the other ones. I'm going to put my 4 glue dots on. I love glue dots for vellum. That's probably my go-to adhesive for that, more so than anything. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to center this in here just like a mat of a regular card. Now you can see these a little bit more because they're on colored. When they dry and set up, they'll be a little bit better. You can actually use some rhinestones in each corner if you wanted, like we did before. Or you can make you a focal point, which takes the eye off of the rest of it. So I'm going to do a focal point up here, and I'm just going to use the 3 different size rhinestones. And make me a tier of rhinestones coming down right here. That gives me a focal point away from the other edges, and therefore you won't see it. So that is my 3 cards, ladies, or gentlemen, whoever's watching. There is that. Now you can see I messed up with that. These do look better, I'll admit. Here is my, and I am going to have to put a glue dot here and there on here because once it dried good, it did pop up. So, let me take the scissors and just what I do to remedy that is just take and put one down there. I'm actually going to add, and you can see once it's dry and everything, if it's popped up anywhere, just add you a couple glue dots down, and you'll be good to go. Because they just don't show with that color in there. So, there you go. There's that one. Here's this one. And then here is the one colored with the alcohol inks. So as you can see, you can do a lot of different coloring with your vellum. And it works. It's pretty, whatever you do. And that's my video tonight. I hope you enjoy it. I thought I had thought I messed up and got black ink on my card, but I didn't. But I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that you use vellum and stuff. If you like my video, please give me a thumbs up or a comment. And also, if you wouldn't mind sharing my video, I would really appreciate that. That just helps me out a little bit in the video world of getting my name out there, which I would really like to do. So until I can make another video, which I hope will be very soon, I will be going, and I will talk to you all later, and you have a great night. Thank you. Bye. I did that.